I'm in Manchester today talking to Elena Spagnuolo and Jasmine Oates from the production of Hanging at this year's Greater Manchester Fringe. Elena, thanks for talking to me. Can you tell me a bit about the play?
Okay, so the play is called Hanging, and it was written by my friend Marco a few years ago. And the play is 1 hour long, and there are 7 characters in the play, and I'll tell you a bit about the plot. So there is a man who is sentenced to death, so he's about to be executed. But in reality, we don't know if he's dreaming. And then during the play, he meets with his executioners, and in the end we found out that his executioners are members of his family. So actually the play is like a chance for people even to reflect about life and relationship with members of your family, feelings of love, hate, anger, these kind of things. And I think this is the coolest part of the play, that this reflection about life. And I think the fact that characters don't have a name, it's really helping this side of the play, because audience, the people watching the play, can actually identify with the characters, because there is not a specific name, so it can be everyone actually on the stage. So yeah, that's.
So you mentioned that the characters don't have individual names. I'm talking to Jasmine now, whose character is listed with the fantastic description of first executioner. Jasmine, can you tell me a bit about your character in the play?
Yeah, basically my character's, it's quite a conflicting one. Like, basically what I really love about the play is everyone's so three-dimensional. Like, there's a lot of grey areas and you can't go hard and fast about anybody. But I suppose to sum up the executioner, they're sort of a slightly older person. They're in their 50s, and their sort of attitude to executioning is very apathetic, just very much like, a job's a job. And I think a lot of people will see that reflection when they're watching it. Obviously, I think quite sadly that reflects how a lot of people feel within their lives. But the one thing she gets passionate about is football, so I think that's quite a humorous look on Marco's part at British culture, actually. But I mean, that's quite tricky for me. I've been trying to with the World Cup and everything, I've been trying to get into the mindset of really loving football, because I don't. But obviously, for this play, I've got to get into that attitude and everything. But I mean, it is super interesting, because as the play goes on, you do see a much softer aspect to this person. But then obviously, and you sort of empathise with them for having to maintain this quite difficult and emotionally draining job. So detachment is more like a coping mechanism.
So, I mean, in terms of what attracted you to the role and to the play, Jasmine, because this is your first time at the Fringe, this is your first Fringe show, is it that complexity? Is it that, because it's quite a challenging role, it's quite challenging material, is that what's appealed to you about taking this part?
Definitely. I mean, what I loved about the whole play was just its exploration of that grey area, and just how the whole play is on a very much up and down emotional scale. That really appealed to me. I feel like that would really stretch me as an actor. And on a more personal level, this play really lends itself well to personal reflections and the polarities within yourself and things like that. So yeah, both on a personal and professional level, I guess it just really appealed to me because of that.
Now, Elena, the play was, as you said, the play was written a couple of years ago by Marco Biasioli. What was the decision made to stage it this time for this year's Fringe?
I think just because actually we met at the University of Manchester, because we are both doing a PhD here at the university here. So we are very good friends, and one day talking we realized that we have this common passion for theatre, and he told me that he wrote a play years ago and that he wanted this play to be staged, and so we decided to do it together for the Manchester Fringe Festival. So yeah, that's the reason why.
So how have you found pulling everything together and getting things ready for the stage in July? Has it been challenging?
Yeah, it's quite challenging, to be honest. And I didn't think when I started, I didn't think it would be so time consuming, to be honest. Because there are many things to do. Because when we go to the theater, we watch a performance, we never realize how much work this involves. Sorry. And so, yeah, I realized that it's quite challenging, to be honest, even because this is not a full-time job. So we do other things, so it's hard to find a balance between studying and arranging things for the Fringe, working as well. So yes, quite hard, to be honest.
Because you are both studying at the University of Manchester at the moment. Jasmine, you're a theatre student, aren't you?
Drama screen studies, yeah.
So, this has been a lot of balancing with a lot of other work as well. How are you finding the experience, Jasmine?
I mean, I love it a lot, and it came at quite a convenient time for me, I guess, because I found the audition sort of at the tail end of my exams or just in the middle of the exam period. So now we're kind of really getting right down to the rehearsals and the graft of it. I don't have university to contend with anymore, so I find it's quite easy for me. So I'm quite lucky in that respect.
Yeah, timing-wise, it might not be quite as convenient for Elena, but it's so this has been an interesting project going into the summer for you. I think, Elena, what would you, if people were considering coming to see the play, what do you think they'll get out of it?
I think, as I said before, maybe it's like the possibility to reflect about your life, but in a funny way, because there are like some dark moments, but some very funny moments as well. So I think that this is the best thing about the play. So it's reflection, but without too much pressure. So this is the best thing, maybe.
And so when is the play on?
So the play is on the 25th and 26th of July at the Whiskey Jar.
Thanks very much for talking to me, Elena and Jasmine. It's been fantastic.
106.6.
Sounds good to me.